Hi, I'm Andrew Texera. I'm an American artisan, and in this video we're going to be continuing our preparation to make our dovetail box. In the last video we showed you the tools you'll need and how to prepare your workspace. And now we're going to prepare our materials. We'll be making this dovetail box out of stock that you can purchase at your local home improvement store for less than $20. Once you have your tools gathered and your workspace clear, we need to start cutting our sides to length. This is a 1 inch by 4 inch by 6 foot long common board that I purchased at a home improvement store. Now 1 inch doesn't mean it's 1 inch, it's actually 3/4 thick and 3.5 wide and 6 feet long. This will give us plenty of material for our box and a little bit left over in case we have an accident. So the first thing we need to do are cut our pieces to length. You can look in the description below to get your measurements. Assuming that you don't have a large shop like this one, I'm going to show you how to make these cuts with just a dovetail saw. Afterwards, I'll show you how to make those cuts on a chop saw, which is a little bit more efficient. When we have our workspace clear, we'll lay our 1 by 4 by 6 board on the workbench. We're going to use 2 F-clamps to hold it in place. It's important that we use 2 clamps. Using just 1 clamp puts us in an unsafe situation where as we apply pressure to the board to cut it, it could slide around on us. By securing the work with 2 clamps, we'll make sure that it stays secure. Now that I have my workpiece clamped to my work surface and I know it's secure, I'm going to use my combination square as a guide. I'll lay the combination square on the end of the board and I want to cut off any defects. I like to give myself a pencil line so I know whether or not the square is moved on me. I'll take out my dovetail saw, remove the guard, put my combination square in place, and I'm going to slide the side of the blade right against the combination square. I'm going to draw back slowly until I get a good square trough. Once I have a good trough established, I'm going to draw back and push forward. Once the blade is securely in the wood, I can remove my square and take a more aggressive cut. I often rock the blade back and forth so that as the saw goes down, I don't have a small amount of tear out at the end. So I've cut one end square, and now I need to mark my measurement for the length that I want to cut this to. I'll remove my clamps, just get them out of the way. And with my tape measure, I'll measure out my measurement for my tail boards, which is 13 inches and 1/16. I'm going to slide this down till it's over the open part of my vise and secure the workpiece again. So with our workpiece secured and our measurement marked, I'm ready to make my cut. And I'm just going to add a 3rd clamp on my workpiece to keep it from falling to the floor. So there we have it. We'll continue cutting our pieces along the board. We need two pieces at 13 inches and 1/16 for our tail boards, and 2 more pieces at 10 inches and 1/16 for our pin boards. And in the next sequence, we'll show you how us modern woodworkers will do this task on a chop saw. So you can see you can prepare your parts with just your dovetail saw and a square. But you're going to find it a lot easier to use your chop box if you have one. The most important new rule about using the chop box is make sure you wear your safety glasses. What I want to do here to start off is just make rough cuts of my pieces, about 1 inch over length. The reason why I want to do that is when you're buying pre-dimensioned lumber, it might not be as straight as you want it to be. And if you have a board that's bowed and you have that side against the fence, it could throw it off as you're cutting your lengths. What's really important is that we make sure our cut is square. So I'm going to use my tape measure, and I'm just going to make some little marks at my length. So I need 2 at 13 1/16 and 2 at 10 1/16. So I'm making a pencil mark at 14, 28, 39, and 50. I'll cut these pieces rough and then I'll true them up. You notice on this length, I only have a short piece. I don't want to hold it by the short piece because my hand will be just a little bit too close to the blade. So I'll turn this around and hold the larger side. Now that I have my pieces cut to a rough length, I'm going to cut one end square. It's always important when you're dimensioning your lumber to make sure that your cut is square. So first I'll make a test cut. The easiest way to check for square is to take a combination square and place it against the side of the board that was against the fence of the chop saw. We want to make sure that we have an even reveal along the length. I can see now that there are no gaps on either side, so this is a square cut. And I'll just make a witness mark so that I know later on that this end is square and this one is not. I'll proceed and cut one end square on all 4 of my pieces. Now that I have one end square, I'll take my measurement for my length. The shorter boards will be my pin boards, and the longer boards will be my tail boards. I'll measure off of the square end. My tail boards will be 13 1/16 of an inch long. I also like to make a nice straight line with my combination square. It makes it easier to set the blade up. So I've just made some small curves to see exactly where my measurement is. Now that I have it set, I'm going to use this hand screw that we used earlier as a stop. It's very important for our box, for the sides of our box to be equal in length. And I'm just tightening that, pressing my piece against it, and now I'll make my cut. Now I'll cut my second tail board, press it gently against the fence and very gently against the stop. Tapping it hard against it can slowly tap this piece over and we'll get inconsistent lengths. You can see now that we have 2 tail boards exactly the same length. We'll repeat this process with our pin boards and then we'll be ready to start dovetailing. So now that we have our boards cut to length, we're ready to start laying out our dovetails so we can cut them. If you had come to class here at Woodcraft, you would have had all that prep work done for you. Each time you take one of my classes, you'll have a project kit professionally prepared and sanded ahead for you, so you can just get to the process of cutting your dovetails. In the next video, I'll show you how to lay out your dovetails using these hand tools. And we'll use these dividers, no calculator necessary. I'm Andrew Texera, I'm an American artisan, and I'll see you in the next dovetail layout video.